Hey, this is David from VeteranOwned Business Listings. I'm here with Mike from the Havoc Foundation. He's an Air Force veteran. He served from 1997 to 2003. So thank you for your service, sir. And what we're going to do is just we're going to just have a brief discussion about your business to kind of spotlight it and see what makes you tick. Quick plug for myself. This is a VeteranOwned Business Listings is a directory listing site that's exclusively for veteran-owned businesses and veteran-friendly businesses as well. And to aim at giving more recognition to veteran-owned businesses and making sure that if you ever want to hire a veteran-owned business, you have the ability to find them right away. So we're going to get right on into Havoc Foundation. Again, this is Mike, and I'm just going to ask some brief questions here. So again, you served in the Air Force, 97 and 2003. And when did you start the Havoc Foundation? Tell us a little bit more about that.
The Havoc Foundation is actually a newer offshoot of some businesses that me and some guys from the old unit have been running since about 2014.
Okay. And so backtracking a little bit, what was your role in the military and how did this kind of come about? Any experience in the military that started this direction?
It's actually a pretty direct line for our company because I work with guys from my old unit. I was in Air Force TAC-P, so I was stationed with the Army my whole career. And Donnie Hayes, who's the inventor of the deflector brake, got us kind of back together. Deflector brake is an accessory for the AR-15, which helps slow down and direct the brass to the 2 o'clock position. And the deflector brake we sold, we're closing in on 60,000 units sold. And deflector brake's really been our it's helped us get along this whole way to be in a position now to where we're forming an oil distribution company with Lucas Oil Products. In fact, we're the dedicated veteran-owned business wholesale distributor of Lucas Oil Products, veterans, first responders, and government. Okay. But we also utilize deflector brake and Havoc Tactical. Through Havoc Tactical, we can represent over 160 different brands in the tactical space, and we can get better pricing, especially for veteran-owned business and veterans. So what we did, as all this came together and we started to see some success, we just decided that 100% of our profits, after we pay our liabilities, are going to found the Havoc Foundation for veterans and first responders.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, that's great. Being able to do that. And so is it just, you said exclusively for also veteran-owned businesses to take advantage of that funding?
No, we are our wholesale distributors of Lucas Oil and tactical products across the globe. We just have certain programs that we can run for veterans and veteran-owned business that we can get them the best prices available.
Okay, and how could we contact you for that? Like if we were interested in doing that?
Sure. I mean, if you look us up on havoctactical.com, you'll be able to find us there for our in-house products like the deflector brake or the jaw bumper cheek weld pad, as well as those 160 brands that we represent. Okay. If you look at VFRGS, Victor Foxtrot, Romeo Golf Sierra.com, that'll show you our Lucas Oil distributorship. And all those are prominently show the havocfoundation.com as basically the reason why what we're doing.
Okay. And could you give us a little bit, just a little intro on your why, like what made you want to go down this avenue?
Sure. Well, if we're talking to the veteran audience, we all have a shared experience. And so when we come out here into the bigger world, right here at home, some of our guys struggle. I was one of those guys that struggled. I've been in and out of VA programs, trying to get help here and there. I'm feeling much better now. Good. But I saw the struggle, like even just trying to apply and get into a VA housing program, for example, or a PTSD program. They might not have beds available for you that day. So what the Havoc Foundation is going to look to do in the short term is bridge the gap. We're going to look for housing. We're going to look for food vouchers. While people are waiting to get into these programs based around VA hospitals and the domiciliary program, for example, they always can't just walk off the street right in. So what a lot of times you have to do is walk off the street, go and start the process, then walk back out onto the street.
Yeah.
Or, there's examples of you get bused to a kind of a civilian homeless shelter in the middle of the city. for that night and bus back in the morning to continue the process. If we can ease that process for guys, we're going to make it easy for people who have a historically hard time asking for help to ask for help.
Yeah.
So that's our short and mid-range goal for the Havoc Foundation. What we're really building towards when we can really get some funding behind us, because we're self-funded. That's why 100% of our profits go to it. But when we can really get it going, we're going to expand these into kind of self-sustaining holistic communities for veterans and first responders to heal.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Because I've been down the road. I've been down that road myself too. I just recently got out of that, so I can definitely relate to that. And I had some ideas as well around that, being able to, have a community of veterans basically so they can get off the streets, get their life together. If there's any kind of addiction associated with it, no judgment. We've all been there, but sometimes it's a way to cope. At that point in time. And it's awesome that you're doing that, and you're a lot further ahead. So I mean, thank you for that, because there's a lot of veterans out there that really need that.
It's not a race. I'm talking to guys who are doing great things all across the country. There's a guy with 77 apartments up in a remote area in, I think, Wyoming. There's Sergeant Major Greg Coker is with the Reaching New Heights Foundation in Southern California, and he's doing fantastic things in the Veterans Treatment Court systems. So
that's awesome.
There's so many people doing so many great things, and what Havoc wants to do is like, hey, we don't feel like we're ahead of you. We feel like we're behind everybody else, and we know that there's the help out there is needed, and we know that our community has the creativity to solve any problem we look at, and that's what we're trying to solve.
Absolutely. That's great. That's really great. I mean, I wish I would have known about that when I was going through my troubles. So yeah, I mean, let's definitely get the word out about that, because like I said, there's a lot of veterans out there currently, potentially in the future who's going to need that. So,
right.
Yeah, that's great. We should definitely talk more about that after, off air here. See if we can do anything to.
And anyone who's in a good enough shape to be in a position to watching this and looking at the veteran-owned business listings, is probably in good enough shape to add some creativity to this problem-solving mission we're on. And I think that you're a key component to that. I mean, what you're doing is fantastic. What we always got to do is keep looking inward to our community, right? Every time we look outward, we kind of get disappointed. We look inward, and yes, we have our own issues here and there, but we're the guys that are going to solve the problems for our brothers and sisters.
For us, absolutely. Absolutely. And have you, this is kind of a little, maybe not off topic, but have you heard of the Wounded Warrior Project? Because they've
Absolutely.
helped me too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. There's so many fantastic foundations out there doing great work. And there's so many smaller ones that are doing their local work where it really kind of, hits the fan, because you're out there with less support maybe than a big city. So we're sprinkled all through the country. And, the more we connect, the better. The better outcomes and results we get for each other.
Absolutely. 100% agree. Yeah. I mean, just to have that network, just to have that helping hand, is huge. Oh, yeah. Just for people to know that it's not over. There are things out there that we can help, even though maybe the current city that they're in didn't really extend that help, not because they didn't want to, but maybe because they don't have the access to the grants or the resources or the facilities to be able to do that. So being able to, like you said, bridge that gap is crucial, especially to a veteran who's currently going through a crisis, especially if they have a family. So, that's crucial. And now, if you had to start over from day one, is there anything that you would do differently?
Oh man, we really felt like we've been really kind of slamming our heads against the pavement every day since day one. We started off with a rifle accessory, and what this does, I don't know, people don't know this, but when the M16 was fielded, there was I think at least 2, maybe 3 deaths in the Marine Corps from hot brass issues. Hot brass gets ejected. We've all had brass burn.
Yeah.
Well, back in the day when they fielded this rifle, the firing pits were a few feet closer together. It resulted in deaths. So the government's answer was to, separate the fire pits.
Separate them. Yeah.
Well, comes along, Havoc Tactical and Donnie Hayes a few years later, and invents the deflector brake, which completely puts that brass at the 2 o'clock position. You can fill a barrel, you know, if you're bench shooting. We didn't even know that this was a problem. We got told this afterward by somebody who's a whistleblower during that time. But it's a very closed, you know, it's a very closed industry, the gun industry. And if you're not one of the kind of good old boys and your uncle isn't, you know, somebody's attorney, we didn't really have any bones, right? Other than the fact that everyone in our crew has had thousands of hours on the rifle and the thing works fantastically as directed. And that's why we've sold, you know, close to 60,000 units now. But
awesome.
What we would have done different is we probably would have just started a pizza joint or something, man. If you're going to invent something new and bring it to market, you know, it's a little bit harder if you don't have the connections.
Absolutely. And so do you find it a lot easier now that you've kind of gone through the motion to have those connections? I mean, being able to connect with other veterans who, you know, the 7th degree of separation or however you put that, one person knows someone that you don't, but because you know them, you now know that person.
Absolutely. You know, like I said, that shared community thing with the veterans, deflector brake has brought us so far. And now we're ready to just branch out into an oil distribution and, you know, dedicating the profits to veterans. Like, yeah, that's why we're here, man. That's the only reason we're here, because of those connections. And because, you know, the deflector brake just works. We've been pirated by 2 different companies, and our second product's just been pirated. And, you know, Amazon is very gun unfriendly, so you can't, if you challenge it, they'll just take everybody off. But if it works good enough to be pirated, you know, we're pretty happy with it.
Yeah, you're doing something right. But unfortunately, you know, you have people who like to piggyback off your ideas and everything, and then kind of gives it a bad name if they're not doing it right. But you know, we want to make sure that they're knowing that you're the original, your foundation.
Yeah, we're the patent holders. We made it.
Yeah.
Donnie Hayes. I know the guy who made it.
Okay. I'll write that down. Donnie Hayes. Yeah, after this, you know, definitely send me the information so I can accurately depict that on the website. You know, because I'm going to put this on YouTube as well, on the YouTube channel, and write a blog about it. So there's going to be different links within the blog post so people can find out more information. But as far as the Havoc Foundation, you said it was at the havocfoundation.com?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes, and each of our business websites, whether it's Havoc Tactical, Deflector Brake, or VFRGS, that's VFR Global Solutions, is our oil distribution company.
Okay.
Each one of those prominently displays the Havoc Foundation as our reason why and where our profits go.
Okay. And you know, what do you like to do when you're not working? Like when you're not running your business? Do you have any separate hobbies?
You know, my girl and I just bought a house out here in Colorado, and we're kind of out in the mountains, and we've got a couple acres. So I've got, you know, a lot of projects to do. I got to build a custom dog shed under my laundry room, and there's deer that walk across every day. So if I want to garden, I got to wire it in, you know. So yeah, there's plenty of things for me to do, but I'm also still just trying to get acclimated to the altitude, man. So that, you know, don't rush me, bro.
Yeah, I'm based out of Colorado too. I'm actually in Denver. So that's great. You know, maybe we can connect. Have you thought about maybe putting up some trail cams or something, and then streaming it on YouTube for a little extra money to come in? So have a foundation.
I haven't thought about that yet. I was going to do that for my own purposes though, just because you know.
Yeah, that'd be great. You know, let me know if you need any help with that, because you know, I was thinking about that too. You know, I wanted to buy a piece of land and maybe put like a trail cam out there running 24/7. Yeah. So you know, people watch anything on YouTube now. So there might be some people who would like to, nature enthusiasts who kind of want to see, you know, the deer running around.
So one of my plans was I want to put up a lot of bird attractants and see how many different types of birds I can get in here. And I've never been much of a bird watching guy, but it's so beautiful out here, and my views of the Sangre de Cristos. And so I know there's all kinds of cool stuff to see out here.
Okay. In what area? Around what area?
Out near, kind of near Westcliff.
Okay. Yeah, I think I went camping up there at one point. No, that's great. That's great. That would be a good idea, because you know, maybe have like a little channel associated with that, and then bird enthusiasts can kind of tell you what kind of bird it is, and I mean, there's different things that could be done. And so, sorry, let me. And what did you do? You might have already answered this, but in the military, what was your AFSC? Like, what did you do in the military?
I was a 1 Charlie 4, so they call them JTACs now. TAC
Okay.
P guy, Tactical Air Control Party.
Okay.
So we would go out in 2-man teams with our Army counterparts. We were stationed with the Army the whole time, and we were the guys that controlled the close airstrikes.
Okay. So did you like that? Did you like that arena?
You know, it was a fantastic job. It was a great kind of dichotomy to, you know, your Air Force, but you're living with the Army full time. I was never stationed on an Air Force base as far as, you know, permanent duty station. So that can be good and bad. But you definitely learn how to, you know, be part of a team with the guys you're with, because you're surrounded. An Air Force guy in a sea of Army. But it was actually a really fantastic job. We got to work with some amazing people, guys that went on to do some just, you know, I got out in 2003, pretty much before all the mess. And then everyone I knew went on to do everything awesome. And then just, you know, some real heroic guys out there doing amazing work. I'm pretty proud of them. Yeah.
No, that's great. That's great. And so if you had a word of advice, you know, and this is kind of your moment to give a little bit of your advice to any aspiring, you know, veterans who are aspiring to be business owners, or any current, you know, business owners who are veterans, do you have any piece of advice to kind of help them along the way?
I would say reach out, look for resources like the VeteranOwned business listings. And then in those listings, if there's anybody that does anything similar to you, I'd say reach out. Good 8-9 times out of 10, if I've ever had a real hard question and called a VeteranOwned business and got hold of the guy or the gal that owned it and asked a normal, straightforward question, you know, they're going to do their best to give you the answer that they know. So I would say reach out. You know, don't try to do it in a bubble. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. You're not on an island. You know, like I said, look inward to the community.
Yeah, that's great advice, because I mean, a lot of times, you know, I'm speaking of myself, you know, sometimes I want to do everything on my own, you know, and reaching out for help is a little hard at times, but I've noticed that it gets easier the more you ask for help, and then you're kind of like, why didn't I just do this in the first place? You know, why am I trying to do everything on my own? So that's great advice. You know, that's great advice. Thank you for that. And was there any reason why you joined the military? Was it because you just, you know, have you always wanted to join the military? Is it kind of just something,
a family trade, kind of as long as I can remember? You know, granddad and dad were both Army MPs. So then I had to be different and join the Air Force, and then join the Air Force in a job where I live with the Army. So just how it worked out. I guess I'm a bad decision maker.
No, not at all. Not at all. Everything happens for a reason.
That's right.
My dad was a Marine, and I kind of wanted to make him mad, so I joined the Air Force.
There you go. That'll do it.
Yeah. But yeah, I was stationed with the security forces a lot of time. I was a security force augmentee, not with the Army or anything like that, but you know, I was a heating and ventilation technician, and a lot of times they're like, well, you're a security forces officer now, and you know, so I got qualified, and so I was like, well, I might as well just be a security forces, but it didn't work out that way. So yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, do you have any other questions do you have any questions for me? Do you have any other advice for veterans that you kind of want to put out there? I mean, this has been great.
Let me just, no real questions. Let me just encourage you and anyone listening to, like I said, not only look inward, but to reach out, right? Because everybody, or most of us, have this mindset: we're going to do it ourselves. We're going to fix it. You know, I don't need to ask for help. But, you know, if I've got a bag of tools, I probably got some I can share. So, you know, reach out and look in at the same time. Let's stick together. Let's get everybody down the road. Let's raise the tide.
Absolutely. We definitely stick together, because, you know, no one's going to help us out but ourselves, right? I mean, we're all in a community. We're all in a group. So yeah, definitely. And if anyone wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to do it? Just go on your website. Do you have contact information?
Yeah. So my contact information is probably displayed on my website, but you can always get me at mike@havocfoundation.com. All common spelling, mike@havocfoundation.com. If you got an idea, if you want to help, or if you need help, anything in between, reach out, just like we talked about.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Mike. I mean, I definitely appreciate you doing this interview with me, and it's been a pleasure speaking with you. And you know, let's make some things work together. You know, we could definitely get the word out on this.
Absolutely.